right? And so whatever that situation is, that's why we're there. That's why we always say we're attorneys and counselors in law. We want to be able to counsel the people, put them in the best position possible. Because honestly, an attorney's job is once you litigate and you get into court, which that's what I love to do.
Right.
But what truly an attorney should do is keep you out of court. They should try to make sure the situation gets best case scenario as soon as possible without spending a whole lot of money and time on it if they can do that. And so that's what we try to do. And then with the community, that plays right into the motif of taking care of everyone that's there. That's why we have a Christmas party. We volunteer all the time for events. We sponsor playgrounds that are in the area. We do all kinds of stuff. We have all kinds of fun activities coming up in the new year that will be coming out to help the community out. It's just kind of what we want to be a part of that community to support them as much as they support us.
As a real estate agent, it's kind of funny because I tell a lot of new agents, I said, a secret agent makes no money. Yep. And so what I mean by that is that people don't know what you do, you're never going to get any business. Right? So part of being active in a community like that, and I try to do a lot of that too, you're doing that. People know you. It's like we say in GBN, you got to know, like, and trust everybody.
It's not relationship.
It is. And if people know you on that level, they feel so much more comfortable coming to you when they need you.
There's nothing more important than trust in a professional environment. Right?
Exactly.
I've got to trust you to maximize or to minimize the cost with your activity. Same thing with me. It's a business transaction, but there's got to be a level of trust. When you're putting your life in my hands, literally, in a criminal component, you're literally putting your time in my hands. I could save you 5 years. I could cost you 5 years. And if you don't trust me on that,
right,
then that's going to make a difference. Same thing with a civil situation. If you don't trust me to try to take care of you and make you whole based on the scenario that occurred, then there's no relationship that's going to be formed. And so it's so important to have that trust with your attorney.
So and that brings up, because you do so much more than just criminal. I believe you use the word a multi-practicing law firm, and you do all kinds of stuff. Let's get into a little bit of that.
I call it multi-practice because we're not a general practice, right? I don't try to do everything because I can't do everything. I've learned that. I tell me that all the time, right? At the same time, we don't do one, and that's what law firms do. They focus on one thing. Like Grandson Law Group does real estate, kind of where they are. Other firms try to do everything. What we try to do at Winslow Law is have an attorney that focuses on a certain topic, but a lot of attorneys, so we do everything for you. So, right, you come in, one attorney does family law, one attorney does civil law, one attorney does criminal law, one does estate planning, one does real estate. That way you might work with attorneys, but they all have a niche that they actually do. So that way you as a person or you as a family or you as a business are taken care of, who knows what they're doing, but the firm as a whole can take care of anything you need.
And sometimes that can get into being multifaceted. You may have an issue that you need to go, you need an attorney for, but it would fall under categories.
All the time. And that's in the past. This is what I've seen right for 20 years. One client would work with an attorney at this firm, and we don't do that. They go to another firm and do that. We don't do that. We go over to this firm and do that. And when we do it all in house, the attorneys can collaborate together to best maximize the plan to benefit you, right? Instead of talking to 3 different law firms, 4 different law firms that don't have a relationship, now we got 3 or 4 different attorneys in the same law firm. They can talk next door to each other,
right,
to formulate the plan for you and your situation, your business.
Yeah.
To me, it just makes more sense.
And that saves client money, right? Because now you're not attorney hopping, if you will. Yeah.
Right. And and hopefully you're at a point where you're like, I trust these guys. I know what they're doing. And so to work with your attorneys, make the same phone call. You just talk to, hey, Tom, talk to Jamie, talk to Nicole, talk to Casey. You just talk one phone call. Talk to you need to talk to.
And it's funny that you use that analogy, because there are so many, especially in the medical profession, there are so many people out there that focus on one thing and they don't have the resources to go. You go to the dentist. Oh, you need a tooth extracted for whatever reason. You go to this specialist, or you need a root canal. Go to that specialist, or same thing with a doctor's office. When I was growing up, and you're younger than I am, but when I was growing up, when I was growing up, you go to the family physician, and they did everything.
And if you remember back in the day, at least in my opinion, people were kind of respected those doctors. The family physician would come to their house and take care of them. Same thing with attorneys, right? The attorney used to be that kind of pillar of the community who was there to take care of the community, to kill a mockingbird, all those different concepts. And that's what we kind of revert back to. We want to be there for our community as counselors to take care of the people. There's a file, there's money, there's stuff involved, but there's always a person that takes first precedent.
Right. And in some instances, you may need to go to that house to visit with that person because they can't make it to the
We go all the
office.
time.
Or sometimes maybe they feel a little more comfortable in their environment.
All the time.
I would say.
And that's the focus, right? And the focus for an attorney, either on themselves, they feel like they're the one that's needed, or it's on the client. And
Right.
it's the client that's needed. You need to take care of the client. I've been to numerous houses. I love actually going to those houses, having meals with them. I've practiced in 28 different states, right? From going to these different areas and taking care of those attorneys that I need to refer something. I love that complex litigation. That's something that other attorneys don't know how to do or don't know how to handle. Working with them on that, working with the client on that, going to them and serve them. I mean, that's our job, to serve others, give them the benefit, not ourselves.
Right. And that's such a great concept. So we hear this all the time. Can you explain what a class action lawsuit is, and how does one of those get started, or how do those happen?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so a class action lawsuit is a common set of facts, right? So a lot of times, go with prescription drugs, right, or a defect in the car. Common set of facts that touches a multitude of people that all have that commonality with it. They can have different damages associated with it. There's enough facts that are common that allow for the judge to say it creates an air of efficiency to kind of lump them all together. And what they'll do is set up the class where it can make up a drug. I don't know a drug right now, but a drug where it's a potential people. And some people are having migraine, right? And so you got the same set of facts, but different damages. So they put aside a money. There's usually a settlement or some kind of verdict. Other trials, verdict allows for an idea on the amount of money it's worth. I'm going to call a number again, $300 million. He said, where that's the migraine? It's $10. Where's the the death? It's $100,000, right? And they allot that pool of money based upon those damages that you put out in your complaint, right? The complaint is how you would kind of elaborate as to what your issue is, what happened to you.
So does the judge usually make that decision up front, or is that something that, or the time he gives the judgment, if you will, or is that something that, okay, I had a migraine, now this class action has been settled, now I need to go to court because I had the migraine to get my $10, or is that?
A lot of times, so much in a class action, there'll be the kind of the people that are on what we call the complaint, the ones that actually are putting forward the class, and they'll be the spokespeople. I'm going to use kind of those kind of terms. The spokespeople for the entire class, who are actually in the class themselves, don't actually have to do anything. They have to fill out paperwork, turn their medical records, they don't have to testify, they don't have to go to trial. And we have a lot of these Camp Lejeune things going on right now.
Sure.
That's with poisoning water. We've actually had cases at Winslow Law Firm right now on those. That's a poison water from a 3M phone that was used. And so the majority of these people aren't going to actually do them turn in the paperwork and show where they've been damaged, potentially from this kind of chemical that occurred during this time period, and it fits in with the symptomology that other people are seeing. And so what they're going to do is maybe have 10 people testify, maybe have 5 trials, and the entire class, like, who knows how many, 50,000 people, are just got to turn in paper for the rest of them.
So you get somebody who says, "Why are you doing at your house? You drink the water.
Yeah.
I need $10."
That's the point. It's like, and so then they set the classes have these different tiers. You would do a tier. You can opt out and not take the money. That means you got your own trial. So it's easier just to opt in
and less cost.
And less cost. And a lot of times it's timely once the class gets through.
Right.
The class doesn't get through because it can take a while, 5 years for the class to get through. But once the class gets through, it's just kind of processing checks for the damages.
It seems like in today's world, you see a lot more of those class action suits going on, and
You absolutely do.
And sometimes I feel that especially when it comes to pharmaceuticals, they push things out way too fast before they test them correctly, and then other things take for years that they shouldn't. It's crazy. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about wills and trusts, because I know you guys do a lot of those, and I think that I guess let's start with when do you feel that somebody needs to have a will, and what circumstances would cause them to set up a trust account?
Yeah, so in South Carolina, if you die without a will, 50% would go to your spouse if you have one, 50% would go to your children if you have one, and then you got different tiers beyond that, right? the family members, etc.
That's an automatic.
That's an automatic,
Right.
right? And so it doesn't just go to the state.
Right.
No, it doesn't. It goes to the state. Really, the state nowhere to be seen normally. You won't even find that. I would say best time to settle wills when you get married, right? Best time to settle wills is when you have a child, right? Don't wait till you're 70, right? You only set up powers of attorneys and wills at the time that you're competent to do that. And for me, the will's not the most document you can possibly have. 5 estate documents,
Right.
right? And a lot of people don't know, but you have the will, which everyone knows what the will is. But you got the living will, you got the healthcare power, you got the durable power, and you might have a trust, right? And so for me, the power of attorneys are documents because they're the ones that actually affect you directly, right? If you lose competency, it might be temporarily, like a car accident, or even anesthesia surgery, right? Or it might be something severe like dementia, Alzheimer's, right? But those are the ones that affect you directly and say, if I can't handle my stuff, then I'm going to get you to handle my stuff for me. So you're appointing someone that you trust, and you're making that decision. Because if you don't do that while you're competent, then the people that are around you are going to have to do it when you're not competent, and the judge has to appoint somebody, and that's called a guardian or conservator.
Which doesn't always have your best interest because they don't know you. They don't know what
it costs 10 times as much. It takes 10 times as long.
Right.
Right. So instead of spending, honestly, $500 to $1,000 to get all this stuff done, you're spending $5,000 to get all this stuff done.
Right.
And you don't have a voice in it because at that point you're not competent to have a voice. Right. So it's so important to do it early because they're good. I mean, they're good for a lifetime. You do them early. If you have them made, the same attorney to modify them. You do one with your spouse, and then you have a child. Work with that attorney to modify. They have the template already made. All you got to do is plug in the child, and make some like modifications.
Right. And that needs to be updated a lot of times. It's kind of like real estate. Life happens. Real estate happens. When life happens, your wills need to happen, and that can be when you get married, when you have kids. It can be when your kids get older. It can be if you get a divorce, if a spouse passes away, or what. Anytime your life situation changes, it's better to have that up.
I always tell about people, I said, you spend enough money on this, just take a look at it once a year.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It takes you 5 minutes to look at it.
Yeah.
If you like it, great. If you don't like it, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
That's awesome. Well, Tom, I appreciate the information. So stick with us, guys, because when we come back, we're going to determine whether or not you actually need an attorney.
You do.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Watch out.
Hi, I'm Justice Ann. I've been a canine liaison at Grand Strand Law Group for, 30 years? What's that? You don't believe me? I meant 30 dog years, of course. First rule of lawyering, read the fine print. Anywho, my humans at Grand Strand Law Group have a combined 20 years experience. I know, not as much as me, but that's in people years. So yeah, still pretty impressive. Real estate, estate planning, or probate, you need GSLG.
Grand Strand Law Group. Trust us, we have a dog.
Great Business Networking grew out of the idea that by creating lasting friendships within the community, we can make the community even better.
I was looking to network with professionals and to be able to refer my clients to somebody that I trust.
Well, it's really important to trust the members of the group because we really generate quality referrals, and to know somebody, be friends with them, and get that qualified referral is the key to success.
It is networking, but it doesn't feel like networking, and that is important to me. I come to the meetings, I have fun, I make great connections, and I help grow my business.
GBN, these are some of the best professionals in the market, and having that resource available to me, that's priceless.
Well, GBN is a network of business professionals that build long-lasting friendships that will not only grow my business, will grow yours as well. That's what referral marketing is all about.
GBN really is the most important marketing for your business. Check us out today.
All right, guys, welcome back to GBN Live. I'm your host, and today we have with us Tom Winslow, law firm. He is an attorney down at Follies Island mainly, right? So with offices in Surfside as well as Columbia. And we want to thank our sponsor, Grand Strand Law Group. If you need their services, they want to be your trusted choice. You can have them reach them in Myrtle Beach or North Beach. You can reach them at 843-492-5422. And also, if you guys have any questions today, please make sure you type them in the comments, and we'll try to get them on air as well. So, Tom, let's talk about, we mentioned before the break, how do you know if you actually need an attorney?
You know, if you're asking the question, do I need an attorney, is when you need an attorney. Right?
Makes sense.
The best time to have an attorney is not when you need one. Or the best time to have an attorney is before you need one. Or if you think you might need one. Because a lot of what our role should be as an attorney or a law firm is keeping you out of trouble, not just, making sure the trouble kind of takes care of you. Right? We want to make sure you avoid situations. That's where that counsel comes in to say, like the wills we talked about before. You want to make sure you have your stuff in place, your business, for your life, before you actually need it, not once the situation occurs, right? And so to have someone on standby, your doctor, most people have a doctor even when they're not sick, right? Have an attorney even when you don't need one, because everyone's going to need one. You go, I don't need an attorney to do a real estate transaction. Do you need an attorney?
In South Carolina, you have to.
Right? Have a will, right? To have a good will, you should have an attorney look at it and put it together, right? All these different components that go with it are important, especially for a business owner, right? And we own businesses, to have an attorney in place is much like having a banker in place or having an accountant in place. They keep you out of the trouble, right? You don't want an attorney when you get in trouble. You want to keep yourself out of the trouble. And so if you say, I need an attorney, get an attorney.
And sometimes that can relate to a free consultation if it's just, asking a few questions. Obviously, if you have to do research and stuff, that's going to cost, depending on the extent of that. But so that makes completely sense. What do you recommend that somebody that needs an attorney or is looking for an attorney, what things should they be looking for in choosing that law firm? And I think one of the things you mentioned, which I think is pretty cool, is that make sure that they can handle any aspect of that, the multi-practicing firm like you mentioned before.
That's the important part, especially like dealing with a business, right? In a business scenario, you'd be looking at doing a building improvements as civil situations. You could be looking at employment situations, right? You could be looking at contractual situations, right? All these different components that play in. You want to hop around to different attorneys. So for me, just like a doctor, just like a realtor, anyone like that, find someone that you can work with on a long-term basis that you trust, that will pick up the phone and call you back.
Right.
They'll respond to your emails. They care enough about you as a person or as a business that you're actually going to feel like you're taking care of me, and I'm not just taking care of you. Right?
Right.
And we all know those people. They're like, my doctor makes me wait for 4 hours in the waiting room, and then sees me for 10 minutes, versus the doctor comes to my house, make sure my family and I are okay.
Right.
Big difference between that.
Absolutely. And of course, on the other hand, that doctor you wait for 3 hours to see for 10 minutes is because you have a great relationship with that doctor too. That's one thing that, we said it before, we've known each other for quite some time, but everybody knows who you are in the community, and you're approachable in that environment. So you're going to be approachable whenever we sit down across and there's something serious that we need to discuss.
I view it as my job to be there to take care of the community and the clients. Right? That's my job. Whether they need me in court or just simply to talk to me, I need to be made available to them.
Right.
That's as an attorney, as a role.
Well, Tom, everybody hear this. I know they have this question, and I know there's only so much you can say, but tell us one of your most interesting cases that you've ever been involved with.
So my favorite case of all time. So I have a JD, right? That's the doctorate. So I got that from Loyola, which went down to New Orleans. Actually, is where I got my law degree, because they were big time in law. I got my international law certificate as well, but it really made me interested in maritime. So I went and got my LL master's above a JD in maritime law also. So I had a case in Nebraska, a maritime case in Nebraska. I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's so funny.
Must have been a big pond.
Maritime case in Nebraska, right? Where a paddle wheel boat was on the Missouri River, and they were partying into some Beatles music, and the captain enjoyed himself too much, ran up on some rock, threw 4 or 5 people off the ship in Nebraska. And so that's probably my favorite case of all time, just because I never would have thought I would have a maritime case in Nebraska. I've had a couple of maritime cases in Hawaii, Florida, Nebraska, South Carolina. And so, I really enjoy that. really, some of my favorite cases are medical cases because they're so complex and you have to really delve into the medical records. So that's kind of where our butter is, and just really enjoy the cases that other people not the easy, not the cherry pick cases.
Right.
Was other attorneys. I'm not so sure what I'm on this.
It's just like a doctor. You have a doctor that can pull out appendix every day, 5 or 6 of them a day. Boom, 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 boom. But when that one ruptures right before you go to pull it out, it's like, that's. You don't want the person to be hurt or injured, but you're like, it's just like me when I worked on an ambulance for so many years. I didn't want anybody to get hurt ever. But if they did, I wanted to be the one there to make sure that we did what we did. I wanted to be the one on top of it. So let's talk about your. All right, guys, it's time for rapid fire. We're going to throw some wild questions here to Tom. So these can be just one word answers if you want to, or whatever. But let's just go for them. What was your first job?
Janitor.
A janitor
at the middle school I went to.
Really?
14 years old.
Really? So the teachers had fun with that, didn't they?
Yeah, it's a different perspective when you're a student versus when you actually clean up after the students.
Right, exactly. So the teachers would say, "Now, Tom, you need to pick up that trash on the floor," and I ain't gonna do it. And he leaves the classroom. And now I clean it up. Yep. That's awesome. Night owl or early bird?
Oh, night owl, baby. Yeah, I'm up till 1 or 2 a.m. And unfortunately, I wake up nowadays at 6:30 or 7 to get all these networking meetings.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Dog or a cat?
Dog. But we have a cat at home. But
do you have a dog?
No, we have a cat. No? I told Lauren, I said, look, we have one animal at a time.
Yeah.
So she's a cat person. I'm a dog person. So we have a cat right now.
So there you go. Dark or milk
chocolate? Dark.
Really?
Absolutely dark.
Really?
I like that. I like the Swiss cheese, like dark chocolate.
Right.
I like that bite. I want my food to have a bite to it.
That's cool. Favorite color?
Blue and gold, baby.
We won't ask. However, I know you're a sports fan too. Yep. Do you follow college basketball?
Follow all the sports.
Did you see that Wake Forest beat Duke last night? Who would have ever thought that?
Love me some of that right now. So I moved to Columbia. So let me clean up. I moved to Columbia when I was like 3 or 4 years old. I was actually born in a place called Advance, right outside of Winston-Salem.
Wait, no, really?
Yeah, Advance, right outside of Winston-Salem.
I grew up in North.
And I didn't know. You know Adam Dillinger?
Yes, very well.
He's from Advance also.
I know,
right? That's where
oh my gosh.
there for like a year or two.
My mom was the president of Bermuda Village.
So, we lived in Bermuda Run, whatever it was called. Yeah, that's where. So this is like I went by there. They still don't have a stoplight.
No,
still does.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I always left from Columbia. But I was.
And you moved here when you were 3?
Yeah,
you wouldn't have remembered that then. Yeah.
Early 80s.
I used to own a pizza place right in the corner of Hillsdale.
You know? Yes, that's what I said. I was like, but yeah, so there we go.
That is so funny. Wow. Things you learn. Favorite word or phrase?
Perspective. Just perspective. Because as an attorney, it's so easy to look at things from your perspective. But I always have to remember looking at it from my client's perspective, from the judge's perspective, and from the jury's perspective. Because all those are way more important than my own personal perspective. Right. And I can't go into a situation presuming I understand the situation.
I like that.
Open to learning and listening.
I like that. That's cool. Favorite movie or actor?
The sad part is I don't really get a whole lot of time to watch anything or do anything, but Taken is probably my favorite movie.
Great series.
I love the monologue. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm working on what to twist that into a legal monologue.
Is it Liam
Nelson?
Yeah. Nielsen. Yeah. I was watching a show one day, and this guy was in the audience. He asked him a question. He said, "All I want you to do is threaten me." He said, "I want you to threaten me to Liam." And he turned the lights down, and he said, I think the guy's name was Michael. And he said, "Michael, I'm watching you." He said, "I'm watching every minute of you." He said, "I will be in the shadows when you're lingering in the alleys." That kind of stuff. I'm like, ugh. He is a great actor. I don't think he gets credit. He's kind of like Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is a great actor, but he doesn't get the notoriety.
He's like Liam Neeson plays a lot of the same role in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
He's a little bit like Tom Cruise, right? Tom Cruise, all this action stuff, like Possible, whatnot.
Yeah. Anyway,
find your niche role.
I know it. Favorite song or artist?
Oh, see, same thing. I'm a big rock radio kind of guy, but right now I'm listening to a lot more country right now, just because it takes my mind off of it. And so Walker Hayes and those guys, Morgan Wall and those guys.
Don't say that. But our guys behind the scenes today love Morgan. And so
coming out of the CCMF.
I know, yeah. Here this year.
So you were CCMF last year?
I know, that's right. We're working in together.
Do that again.
That's right. So favorite vacation spot?
Bed. Bed's my favorite one.
I like it.
Recently took the family down to the Keys, a marathon key, and
yeah,
really nice. Went out there and had a client that offered us a place to stay for a weekend.
Nice.
It was really nice. Right on the ocean.
Yeah.
Pleasant.
And is there an app that you use regularly that gives you any feedback or any motivational type things or anything like that?
So what I do, so I told you I was a late night guy. I go to the office late at night and I'll check my emails, and so I get 300 emails a day, 20 voicemails, whatever.
I know that figure.
Yeah, that is. It's a goal of mine to get every single one of them. Because if I was, I don't want to response, right? Like,
right.
I don't want to wonder if my attorney heard from me or not. So I try to get back to everyone. But I'll put like Gary Vee or Simon Sinek or something like that on every single night, listening to it while I'm checking emails and doing work and stuff like that. And so, truthfully, favorite apps or stuff, YouTube, TikTok, stuff of that nature, where you can get these clips and these kind of motivational clips. Steve Harvey has out there, right?
Great stuff.
Right, and so that's really where I put my focus on. My phone is so busy with emails, text messages, and calls. I don't play on it, but I will put on stuff in the background to give me additional perspectives. Because no matter how bad your life is, right, as an attorney or a doctor, or as a
right,
there's always going to be someone that is not doing as well as you are. You sometimes have to be reminded of that. Be reminded of how blessed you are to wake up, especially wake up in this great country.
That's so true. My family gets a little upset with me because when I'm in the vehicle, my radio's off. Mm-hmm. And it is because I clear my head. I'm thinking of things I need to be doing that when you're in the office, the phone rings or emails come up or whatever. I don't.
So for me, the car ride is phone calls.
Yeah, right. I do a lot of that too.
Because I can't return phone calls during the day. So in the car, I should be checking texts and stuff like that. So I return phone calls in the car.
Yeah.
And then at night I do emails. I do text messages during the day. Meet with clients all day long. And I go back for my second shift at night, where I take care of myself all day long. I try to take care of everything else. And I take the middle part of the family, part of the day, take care of myself and the stuff I have to do.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, thanks for playing rapid fire with us. The next thing is, I know I've been to your office on all these islands. I haven't been to the one in Surfside or Columbia yet, but you offer some other things there for the community, being a community-oriented guy, where people can rent out space, whatever. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so we have a nice office in Polly's. Very blessed with that office space on the Surfside in Columbia as well. But the one at Polly's, we have 3 conference rooms, all equipment, video equipment, and photo equipment, of course. We have a number of people out there and rent out the conference areas to use for maybe HOA for their own personal meetings, offer it to everybody. Right? That's why we're here. We used to have a whole upstairs that we rent out, but we rented out the whole thing upstairs. We're called Anderson Insurance, who's also a member of Polly's Island.
That's right.
Group. Yes. And so they were out the entire upstairs. And so they have that downstairs. And we rent out those offices, those conference rooms. So if anyone needs it, they can come down and use it. Because truthfully, between Myrtle Beach and Charleston, there's not a whole lot of meeting space.
There's not.
We're happy to kind of give that to the community and let them use that space.
Yeah, that's one of the issues that we run into with GBN a lot this year. We end up in restaurants and whatnot because there's no other meeting space there. And the few that there are usually rented, so or at least not open on a consistent basis. So that's hard to
very
find.
limited capacity around that area.
So tell me about this Winslow Law Legal Brief podcast. I believe I said that correctly.
Sure. Yeah, so I love it. We do a blog every single Monday, and that's kind of focusing on legal topics in the world, right? Because in the day, there's so many things going on that people just don't aware of, and they don't think of the legal components that go with certain aspects that even affect us here in our local communities. Try to do the same thing with the blog as we do with the podcast. Right, the podcast is those legal stories verbally and discussing those stories. We have radio shows on Saturdays and Sundays, and we can turn those into the podcast where we talk about different topics. Again, Lord, I love cases in India, cases in Russia.
Sure.
Because it really highlights how blessed we are here, right? And look at the situation, right? You complain all day long in the United States and the rights you have here until you go somewhere else.
Exactly.
You don't have those rights.
Yeah.
And there's so many places, even states, that don't have the same freedom or rights You take it all for granted, right, until you don't have it. And that's what we try to highlight is the legal components of the stories you hear to make you think, wow, there is a legal component to that. So almost every story you hear, there's going to be a legal part to that story.
Right.
And it's so important for your attorney to understand that, right? If there's a case in Utah, and I understand how the case works, but that same fact situation applies in South Carolina, then I can take what I learned from that Utah case and apply it to the South Carolina case. Yeah. And I'll be one step ahead of the person that doesn't know anything about the Utah case.
Yeah. People don't realize research goes into cases.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And fortunately, there's a system out there now that you can use to search some of that stuff, which is nice. You didn't have that years ago.
Yeah, so that's all that. And that's right. And you know this. You start a business, you're working your tiny off just to make money, and now even less enough that we've been able to generate enough money to get the tools and resources that really create the maximum benefit to our clients and to our coworkers. Right. So now they have these research tools and they have all these different things that honestly give us an advantage and allow us to be a step ahead, hopefully, of everyone else.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Guys, if you want to get in touch with Tom, you can reach him at 843-357-9301.
9301.
843-357-9301. You can get him on his website at winslowlawyers.com. He'll be happy to help you. All your legal needs, they're there for you all the time. So, Tom, before we go, one more last question. I know that you guys network a lot. Your staff does. They show up with you now a lot. Tell us what networking means to you, especially with GBN.
Look, when I moved down here 20 years ago, I didn't know anybody. Right? When I opened the firm 10 years ago, I didn't know anybody. And the entire crux of the firm is built on building relationships. And you can't build a relationship by not talking to people.
Right.
You can't build a relationship by not going to see people and putting forth the time and the effort to do that. And because of that effort, honestly, that's where we are. Right? This whole firm is built, but I didn't have money. Right? I couldn't go out and build, billboards, commercials. I could spend my time meeting people. And honestly, it's a true relationship you create. Right? That relationship of trust. And that's what an attorney needs. You need that relationship where you trust that person that you're talking to work with you. And if they work with you, they see you every day in the community, what you're doing at networking events, then they're going to come back to you. And as long as you're there for them, that trust will continue to develop. And I've been so blessed to be working to be able to build that trust with others, but hopefully also people with me. Yeah. So I'm just blessed by that.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Tom. Guys, at 11 o'clock, you need to stick with us because we have T. Mars McCallum, who is with the Team Logic IT. He'll be here with us at 11 o'clock. And so, guys, first of all, Tom, I wish you and Lauren and the kids a happy holidays. Stay safe out there. And
y'all too.
And we appreciate it. But, guys, if it's Wednesday, it's GBN Live. Y'all have a great week.
Thanks, y'all.